I consider myself a history painter through memoir, but not just my own story, but the stories that continually happen again and again and again. And in Rome, it's just solidified history. It's just the most amount of stories put together. And it's epic beyond even an Irish version of epic. It's been a reference point for years. Being here is just the biggest feast I could imagine, really, in terms of substance, visuals, sensuality of materials, the labyrinth of the city. It's so important to stop and to rethink things and go somewhere else and fill your head with new ideas. The old ideas are not going anywhere. I've spent my adult years rummaging through my younger years to understand them. And I rummage through history. I rummage through actual history and personal history. I grew up on a farm in Ireland. My father built boats, he built windmills, and we had a pretty utopian life until we didn't. My father died when I was very young. We were hit by a series of events. There was a fire, there was a tornado, and then there was a very tragic death. And after that, we fought to keep the land. We farmed it, my sisters and I. And it was feminism firsthand. We learned how to survive out of sticks. So I continued that. I came to this through music. I came through it through sean-nós singing, which is lament, which is an ancient form of grieving. The translation of sean-nós from the Irish means old style. And I'm interested in old style of language. I bring all these things with me. They're not particularly handsome bits. They were at the top of my pile. I threw them into my suitcase, like starting seeds for me, like my traveling archive. I used the language that I grew up learning in school, you know, knitting, making dresses, but I use it for painting. I knit with wood. I love that I knit with wood. I speak with this language that is so physically hard to bend, and I make it fluid. We have this tremendous trauma behind us, and I wanted that trauma in evidence in the back of the paintings. I wanted to have that resistance in the work. I wanted to have the tidiness of the joinery in the work and the insistence and the beauty of that kind of stuff, you know. I'm interested in pigment that will give you a history. So to be here where I can go down and see mosaic, I can see egg tempera, I can see a fresco. I wanted painting that would kind of come out of its own ruin. And I wanted painting that would defy the structures that were traditionally given to it to be. This is egg tempera. I construct them very carefully, and it's many, many, many layers. I want this bulge. I want it to be like a body. I never dress things up too far, except for the egg tempera. I just love how the pigment sits in it, and I love what the light does in it. It's like no other paint for me. For this project, I just wanted to keep it to wood and paint and thread. I wanted it to keep itself up with no support at all, to have a very precarious balance, but a very good balance. I've made this piece a few times because it loses the balance when I put the clay in the wrong place. So then I'll shave it down, trying to get the balance back on it. But that's something I'm very interested in, that there's no glue, there's no museum wax, there's nothing. It's just holding itself up completely. And the pigment can even affect the balance of it. Eventually, they become these armored paintings. I see them as female. If you can make female paintings, I think I make female paintings. This is my lab right now. It's all about experimenting with things I don't even know about yet. I think a huge part of my practice is the invention of language. How you can pin a very small, almost irrelevant personal story to a bigger, more epic tale.